It's Sam. Today I want to talk to you about all the stocks that I bought and sold this week, all the assets I bought and sold this week. So I realize I used to do this more often where I talk about everything that I'm buying and selling, but right now there's just so much uncertainty in the market that I'm totally okay with just doing this once every week or so. Now, if you guys want to get what I'm buying and selling in real time, you can definitely check out the link down below to Patreon. But this has been a peak week for fear. There's been a lot of fear, a lot of people thinking that now is the end with inflation coming, with the pipeline issues, with so many stocks having earnings that maybe hit expectations or came below, or maybe they exceeded them, but they're just not exploding. Or, every morning that we see red, it keeps on falling and falling and falling. Or every morning that we see green, it falls and falls and falls throughout the day. Today we see something different. Now, there's still 2 hours left in the trading day. So anything can happen in those last 2 hours. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, we're all green, we're good to go. But many stocks, a lot of growth stocks are up 2 to 30% today. And I've made some big moves this week. So this has been by far the most I've ever bought in a week. I bought a lot of stocks this week. I bought call options, which I've never done before, but there were just some good opportunities. So I'm going to walk you through what I've been buying, what I've been selling, and give you my thought process behind it. So that way you guys get an idea for where I'm at least. Now, right off the bat, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate it. It does help out the channel. Also hit subscribe if you haven't done that already. There's a link, or there's the subscribe button right down there along with the bell notification. And there's a link down there to get Webull to trade pre-market, which is really important because this week there were some good pre-market opportunities that I took advantage of. And you should definitely check that out if you're interested, just deposit $100 and get some free stock. So SFTW, it is a space play that I sold this week. So I still have some of it, I believe, in one of my portfolios. I'll be honest, it's not very much, but I sold part of it. It's one that I've talked about a couple times that I said that I was going to sell because of the fact that I like what they're going to do. I still plan on holding a little bit of it, but there were so many deals this week. I needed some firepower. This has stayed about the same level while so many other stocks have crashed. And some people give me a hard time for saying crashed, but a lot of stocks have literally crashed, like 20% down or more. So I took this as an opportunity to sell this, even though it's under net asset value. It's only 0.5% under that. And I've seen a lot of upside in other stocks. So I sold some of it. I sold a decent amount of it. I sold 2% of my portfolio that I had in it, maybe 2.5%. And I put it into other stocks. Sorry, my voice gave out there after that 2-hour live stream I just did. But that is the only stock that I sold this week. Now, some stocks that I bought that have turned out really well. And, anything can change. I'll talk to you about what I am looking for in terms of whether we're actually over this. Like, are we over the hump? Is big money flowing back into these stocks? We'll talk about that in a bit. But Palantir. I bought Palantir earlier this week. One of the days that we opened, it was actually right after they announced earnings. It was in the mid 16s. So I bought it at $16.50. I bought a good position in it. I've already owned it before. I added to my position though, and I'm really happy about it. I think that Wall Street just has a hard time understanding this company, has a hard time understanding the valuation, but their margins are going to be fantastic. I've done a full video on it. They really do have a couple things that they need to work on. They really need to increase commercial sales, which I think they're going to be able to do because they are literally going to give it away for free. And that's going to be the hook to get these people, to get these companies in for the long term. So I was happy to pick it up in the 16s. And I said that it was cheap. And someone pointed out in my video, hey, it's not cheap. It's still very expensive. And while I think that's somewhat true, if you start looking years out and you start thinking, okay, at about a $30 billion valuation, that's about what I picked it up at, give or take. 5-10 years from now, this thing is raking in money. So yes, right now, not very cheap when you talk about price to sales, price to earnings. But if you really have a bullish outlook on this thing and think, hey, this company is going to be able to deliver what they have said, then hey, this is a great buying in price, in my opinion. I mean, you're looking at maybe a 2x in 5 years. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot compared to what people are used to, but that's solid. That's double what an index does. Now, another stock, and of course, this is not financial advice. Any of these could do something completely different. Another stock that I bought is Coinbase. Now, I did not buy a lot in Coinbase because I already have a significant position in it, but it was really irrational yesterday. They had their earnings, and I do listen to some other big financial YouTubers. I won't say any names, but there's some of the biggest people on YouTube. And I was listening to them talk about Coinbase and how they're going to crush earnings expectations. And I sat there thinking, no, they're not. They're not going to crush anything, because when they went public, the numbers that they gave were unaudited Q1 numbers. So they should just hit their earnings. They should hit between 730 and 800 million in net income, and they should hit about 1.8 billion dollars in revenue. And that's exactly what they did. So the stock sank after that happened, and it was really interesting because it sank, and I thought, this is just stupid. I said that to the Patreon members. It's stupid that they would fall 6 or 7% after hitting expectations, because they literally just told us what they were going to do. And of course they fell, and I picked up a share, just one share, because again, I already have a large position in them, and it was pretty much at this exact price that they're at now. Now, I'm not sure why it's falling throughout the day. There are a handful of reasons. I think Wall Street just doesn't have the feeling that Coinbase can keep up this amount of net income and revenue growth into the future. And I think they're really worried about that race to the bottom in fees. But I still think, based on what they do, that they could still be really profitable even without some of those transaction fees when you start looking years out into the future. Again, I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of fees for a while. I don't think that's going to be like, oh, next year someone offers no fees and then everyone's going to have to offer no fees. I don't think that's going to be the case. The next stock is CLSK stock, and I bought call options for this. I bought shares for this. CleanSpark is kind of a heartbreaker. It's probably one of the stocks I feel most strongly about, but has done probably really poorly. So as Bitcoin has doubled in price, or gone up 70% now, I guess, throughout the year so far since January 1, CleanSpark has pretty much been cut in half. So if we look back on January 1, it was $30. Now it's $15. This company continuously comes out with good news. They're acquiring more Bitcoin miners. They're 95% carbon free. They're going to be 98% carbon free. They're going to increase Bitcoin mining 4x. They are profitable. Like, all this good news, and no matter what's happening, they always trade with the bad news. Like, Bitcoin goes down, CleanSpark goes down. Growth stocks go down and Bitcoin goes up, CleanSpark goes down. Like, no matter what, it seems like this company falls down. However, with a big push to clean Bitcoin mining, I think this company can do well, even if they aren't giving out their software to other companies to Bitcoin mine, because I think Tesla might actually get into that. Even if they don't do that, just the fact that they already Bitcoin mine in a clean way, I think is really important. And I think based on what they're going to do over the coming quarters in terms of revenue, I think this company is going to blow out expectations. I mean, I've seen some expectations that they're going to hit revenue that is just like 4x what they did in Q1. So they're just assuming that the rest of the year they're just going to have the same revenue that they had in Q1, which is not going to be the case. Unless Bitcoin falls down by 50, 60, 70%, they're going to explode the revenue throughout the rest of the year. So I picked up some more shares of them. I picked up some 2023 call options. I also picked up some call options for NNDM. So I actually made 50% in these call options overnight. I bought these yesterday. I even said in a video yesterday, hey, NNDM's at 550. It's well under the amount of cash that they have. It's like 10% under the amount of cash they have. Whenever we see it go into this 550 range, it bounces off and goes up over 6. So I said I might be picking up some call options or picking up some shares. I bought my first call options and, I got 50% in a day. I was happy. I bought 1 month call options. I realized that's really risky, but I was willing to take that risk. It wasn't like a huge part of my portfolio or anything like that, but it bounced right off. I sold them right in the 6 613, 614 range when NNDM was in that range, and now it's come up a couple cents more than that, but I made 50% just in a few hours, a few trading hours. Then another stock that I've been picking up really heavily is Tattooed Chef. So they did not have explosive earnings. They had nice revenue growth. They didn't beat on earnings. They missed on earnings, and they've just been sitting around this $16, $17 mark. They've just been bouncing here. However, I think that they are going to show great growth through the next couple of years. And I think that there's just a big discount in Tattooed Chef compared to some of its competitors. I really like the brand. Like I've said before in Tattooed Chef videos, my girlfriend was raving about these acai bowls, and I should say fiance because I forget that sometimes. She was raving about these acai bowls. Turns out they're a Tattooed Chef brand. The fact is their balance sheet's strong. Their management team seems strong. They said in their call that they had, I forgot how they phrased it exactly, but the target that they worked with, or Target in general, said that they had one of the best openings for a product ever, like the best selling ever for a product. And I can totally believe that because whenever I go to my Target, there's no Tattooed Chef there. It's all sold out every single time. And I didn't know if that was supply issues or that there's high demand. And it seems like it's because they're selling out, because they're selling so well at Target. It's the best that they've ever seen, they said. Now, in addition to all this, I did buy some Palantir and Etsy last week. Etsy's still down a little bit for me. Peloton has done really well. I bought it at 85. Now it's around 95, I believe. And then I've been buying crypto. So when we saw Elon tweet the other day, I bought some Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum. I bought $500 of each. I've also been buying ADA Cardano for the last 2 weeks or so. I stopped buying just a couple days ago, and it shot up to $1.97 all-time highs. Now it's in at $1.90, and I have 3,000 Cardano now. I'm up a decent amount on that. I think I'm up about $1,000 or so. So I've been buying it all the way up to about $1.77. Happy with that. Cardano is now about a fifth of my Ethereum position, and then Ethereum has I have a little bit more in Ethereum than I have in Bitcoin. So I have about a third of a Bitcoin. I have almost 7 Ethereum and then 3,000 Cardano. So that's where I'm sitting at now. I think what we're seeing here today is nice to see. So I think what we're seeing, and this could always be wrong, we could always have a reversal, but this is the first time in a while I remember a green day where we continuously went green throughout the day. It seems like inflation fears are going away a little bit. There's being more money put in the market throughout the day. It's not like we're seeing this initial bump and then it fall off like we've seen so many other days. Just looking at all these here today, they're either staying at the same or they're going up. Now, Coinbase is very different, but almost all the stocks I've seen have bumped and then stayed up or continuously run up, which is good to see. Like I said, I think as time goes on, we'll really have to dial in and look at the inflation. How bad is the inflation? What do people think? Will it continue to stay here? Will it go away? What are we looking at there? It seems like people aren't as worried. The inflation numbers aren't as bad as we thought. Cars accounted for a significant portion of the inflation. So I think everyone's taking a step back, realizing, hey, these growth stocks, assuming we don't increase rates, right, anytime soon, these growth stocks are at a severe discount. Like, you can short these stocks. You can short NNDM all day long. You can short Tattooed Chef, these aren't super highly short stocks compared to some other ones. You can do that all day long, but at some point, the risk reward doesn't make sense to short it anymore. We were getting to levels that we haven't seen in months. We've seen that with a lot of other stocks too. It just makes more sense to buy them. Eventually, they'll have to cover their shorts. They're going to have to buy back the shares. And eventually, if enough companies do that, it's going to send these things skyrocketing. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that today, where maybe people aren't shorting as much. Maybe they're covering a little bit because we have seen so many stocks go up so significantly. I'm still invested in BNGO, LFMD, DMTK, Senseonics. A lot of these are up 13, 15, 20, 25, 30%. a lot of these are, sorry, I'm making weird noises here, but a lot of these aren't like having great news. Like, sure, they had all of them had earnings yesterday. Jeez, I can't talk anymore. All of these had earnings yesterday, but it's not like they blew out expectations and like, hey, we have partnerships with these massive hospitals and all this stuff now. Like, they had pretty good earnings. And I think people realize, hey, these are down 70, 80%. If there isn't inflation, these are going to be stocks that could do quite well. And they're names that people know and have been waiting to buy into for a while. And now they're attractive valuations. Now, don't get me wrong, these are still down significantly. So we need a lot of 10, 20, maybe 5% days to compound on each other to get back to even close to where we were before. But if you've been averaging down, this is a nice day for you. A lot of these stocks are up quite well. So let me know your thoughts on this down below. I will say I did sell my NNDM call option. I think I already said that, but I sold the call option. I'm holding on to the CLSK call options. I'm happy to hold on to those. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. Again, this was a massive buying week for me. Do you think the market's turned around completely? Do you think we have a lot longer way to go? Do you think next week's going to be green or red? Let me know. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for checking out the link down below to Webull. If you guys want an interest rate on your cryptocurrencies, we still have Bitcoin and Ethereum down a little bit from their highs, especially Bitcoin. You can check out the link down below to BlockFi. They're where I have the majority of my crypto. I like their platform a lot. They're paying you a bonus and they're paying you an interest rate. So a lot of people wonder, how can they give up to 10% on some of their cryptocurrencies? It's because they really want you as a client and they are willing to pay out of their butt for it. So just know that right up front, that they are willing to pay a lot. In case you guys are interested, check that link out down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.